I made a YouTube short recently where I had just finished up a run and I asked you guys if you would be interested in learning more about kind of an epiphany I had about mental shifts and mental mindset that could help you possibly get some more milk supply. I got a lot of yeses on that video, so that's what we're going to talk about today. This video is going to be a little bit more casual. I hope I can just express some thoughts that I have and some things that I've learned along this process, and especially working with a lot of clients, particularly working moms. That's who I work with inside my coaching program, because this is hard, right? If you're trying to combine breastfeeding, pumping, and go back to work and make it all work, and you want to be able to do that in the fastest and most efficient way possible, there is an application down below where you can book a call to speak with my team. But I realized some really important things that I want to share. And I think even here in this free YouTube video, I think you can find some mental shifts that not only will help you enjoy this experience more, but may also result in more milk supply. And that's what I want for you. Okay, first of all, I am not a runner. I don't enjoy it. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I've been kind of wanting to do something more physical, whatever. So I decided to do that. I have jogged a 5K before, and I worked really hard training for that. I remember doing a fun app that I liked, but I've also started that app multiple times and quit it. I realized after I finished this run the other day that I actually had a good time and it was fun. And I said, hold up, I don't like running. What just happened? Why was this an enjoyable experience? And the little runs that I've done in the last month and a half if I started this have all felt really terrible. I've hated them. I'm not in any better shape, to be honest. It was definitely a mental shift. And I realized that the 12-week training that I usually do for the 5K is very similar to what I see my clients going through in 12 months of breastfeeding and pumping. Tell me if this sounds familiar. If you haven't done this before, this is a very common scenario that I see in my clients, okay? Week 1 and 2 usually feels pretty good. It's like, I'm not in as bad a shape as I thought. I can totally do this. The motivation is there. I can see my goals. I can totally do this. But the running intervals are so small, like 45 seconds. And then you get to rest for 2 minutes. And then you do that 6 times and you're done. Like, I feel awesome. Week 3 is where crap gets real, all right? They start getting a little bit longer, a little bit harder. Week 4 for me is where things usually fall off the wagon. I have to redo multiple days because I didn't actually hit all of the things they wanted me to do. I usually start skipping days at this point and then have to catch up, which makes it so much harder. It's just not a good scenario all around. By week 5, I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. By week 6, it's still hard, but it starts to feel more doable. I think I am getting in better shape by that point. Week 7 is like, maybe I can do this. I'm over halfway. Week 8 is where I start to be like, I'm so over this. I'm so done and I don't want to do this anymore. But I've already come so far at this point. I just have to keep going, which sucks, to be honest. Week 9 is long. This is where it gets hard because the intervals get really long. You have to run. It's harder. I don't like running. It's the worst. Week 10 is so close, but still so far. Feels like I'm never going to be done with this, right? By week 11, I'm maybe starting to enjoy it. Like maybe, right? And then week 12 is fun. The end is in sight. I can relax a little bit. I'm already in better shape. I'm feeling pretty good about things, and I know I'm probably going to hit my goal. And this is a very common scenario that I see with a lot of breastfeeding moms. In the beginning, it can feel like things are going pretty well. You have all of this milk supply. We just did another video recently talking about milk supply regulation and how in the beginning, it doesn't take a lot of demand for the supply to just be like, here you go. Your birth hormones are helping you out quite a bit there. But the further you get in, the less those training wheels fall off, right? And then you're on your own, and it takes more demand to create the supply that used to be so easy. And pushing through mentally is so hard. There are so many mental and emotional aspects that go into pumping. This is something that we teach inside of our program pretty heavily because you can be doing all the logistics right. You can have the perfect breast pump. You can have the perfect schedule. You can have flange sizing that is dynamite. You can be doing all of these things and then still not hitting your goals or still absolutely hating the experience because there's a lot that goes into not only your milk supply that's mental, but also how you feel about this. I've seen people get to the same point, do the same thing, had a very similar experience, and one person can feel really, really good about it, and one person can look back with dread. And sometimes I've even seen that inhibit people from having another child or from returning to their career. They just cannot stomach the thought of doing that again. That's not good. I don't want you to be there. I don't want the way you want to mother, which is, breast milk, breastfeeding, pumping. I mean, if you're here on this channel, I'm just kind of assuming that's a goal for you. I don't want a bad experience to get in the way of how you want to mother your child. I realized that there are a few things that can really help us get to our end goal, not only with more milk, but our sanity intact as well. The first big breakthrough I had was that I had previously, this time around, been just running on my own. I had like a loose plan. I was just kind of doing it, but every day was defeating. And I noticed even on the first day that I downloaded this dumb app. It's called like Couch to 5K. It's a sad app to go from your couch to 5K, whatever. I'm not a runner. I noticed even the first day using this app, it told me what to do. The plan was absolutely laid out for me. And it was very doable intervals, right? And I didn't have to make any decisions. This was like multiple breakthroughs all in one, everyone. So here's what I did. I did a 5-minute warm up, did a 45-second running interval, and then I rested for a minute and a half. And then I did that 6 times, and then I was done. But every time that little running interval was over and it dinged and it said, slow down and walk, I got to feel really good about myself because I did it. I completed the mini goal, the micro goal. But when I was doing that on my own, when I was just like, I'm going to go running, I had to decide, okay, I'm out of breath. I need to stop. And it always felt defeating. It never felt like a win. Does that make sense? So then at the end of the run, I'm filled with these micro, like, look how many times I stopped running versus look how many times I hit those micro goals. I even think I did a little bit more running with the guided help of an app than I would have on my own, kind of accidentally, just because it told me to. And I think this is really common in breastfeeding and pumping as well. And honestly, one of the big reasons that I created my coaching program was because you just need a plan. You just need someone to say, here's how you do it, but also here's how we do it for you. And I think that's the big key. It's like you can't just take a course and learn, okay, here's how you pump, in this course, because how does that apply to you, and where do you go with questions, and what happens when things fall off the wagon and the plan needs to adjust? These are all really hard things to tackle on your own. This is one of my favorite parts of my community and working with my clients is we actually get to work together long term, so it's a one-time investment and you're with me forever, which is so fun. I love it that way. But we frequently share wins. So anything that goes right, any little micro win, we're sharing it. So the other day, I remember one, she said she'd been working on getting letdowns with a pump because it's different than with a baby and it's a lot more intentional, can be a lot harder. And she said, I was finally able to get 3 letdowns in a pumping session at every pumping session during my workday. She was so proud of that. Anytime you can find the little things that are going right, it can make such a big difference for you mentally. And instead of focusing on all of the things that you're not doing right, which is probably a lot of things, but this is life. There's a lot of things you're not doing right. Not only pumping, breastfeeding, in your personal life, in your career, at home. I have a pile of laundry sitting out on the side of the door that I close so I don't have to look at it while I'm talking to you guys. There are so many things that we're not doing right. And focusing on those things is hard, but I think this mental shift of celebrating even the micro wins, the little things that you're doing right can really help. Okay, that was several things all in once. Having a plan, having someone. Honestly, I'm so grateful to whoever wrote this Couch to 5K app because I don't want to go learn all the stuff about running and psychology and blah, blah, blah. Just like tell me what to do so I can do it. And that's kind of what I've laid out for you inside of our program too, because it's important to just have a plan and do it. You have a lot on your plate. Your mental capacity and your brain power is very special and it cannot be wasted on things that it does not need to be wasted on. But just having a guide to be able to do that can be a huge help. It's also really important to have a SMART goal. SMART is an acronym, so it stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, okay? So you need to have a SMART goal in terms of what you're trying to do. Have it be specific, okay? And this doesn't have to be, I want to breastfeed my baby for 12 months. It can be as simple as, I want to stick to my schedule today. Or I want to make sure I have 3 letdowns in this pumping session. Big, small, these are important. You need to have a time limit on there. You need to make sure it's actually attainable. Realistic expectations is something that we talk about a lot with me and my clients because sometimes the expectations are just off. And sometimes you're actually already meeting your goals. And once we identified them, you're there. Actually, I did an interview with Shelly one time. I'll link it down below for you. And it was funny because she was a fun client, very animated, and it was fun to work with her. I remember having a really tough love moment where I said, she was giving me all these problems, all these things she had that wasn't going right. And I was like, Shelly, we got to do the math here because I think you're already doing it. She totally was. She was already doing enough. She just was so hyper-focused on these negatives, and it's hard to see the bigger picture when you're stuck in the middle of it. I know it is. So having someone be able to do that with you can really help. And I don't think it's a secret that you are way more likely to meet your goals when you have a buddy, when you have a partner, when you have someone that's doing it with you. And I don't mean like a partner at home who's supportive. You know, a lot of you have partners or spouses or, you know, secondary caregivers that are helping. I mean, someone that's in the trenches and doing the same thing you are. And this is true in sports. This is true in goals. This is true in life. There's a reason that there's study groups, that there are, you know, workout classes. Anytime you do something with somebody else, you are way more likely to stick to it for what you said you were going to do, you know, or to have someone to talk through when things get hard and figure out, do you still want to do this? Is this still in your best interest? Part of our program includes a community of working moms. So we actually don't offer a spot to everyone that contacts us. We are very careful about who we invite into our space because y'all are doing the same thing. And it's so fun to see you guys connect and to bounce ideas off of each other and not even realize the questions you had. The comment section of these videos are really a fun place to do that too, is to kind of see what other moms and what other users are saying, what struggles are they having, what questions are they asking. And I do my best to answer as many comments as possible here on the YouTube channel. But there's something really binding about having a community or at least someone else who is doing this with you. So if you don't have that, I encourage you to find somebody else who is doing something similar to you or who has already done it and can kind of guide you and be a mentor and or a buddy through this process. I've noticed I've had much more success in my life in multiple areas when I have someone that I'm doing it with. As we're kind of talking through these, I know it seems like this is a fluffy, nice to have thing. Like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I want to be happy about it, but really all I care about is getting enough milk for my child. And I get that, and I hear you on that, but I want to tell you that I have seen this many, many times, so many times over. I can't even tell you. How you feel about your experience matters. Okay, you kind of get one shot at this. If we lose the milk supply, it's really hard to bring back. Your baby's growing every day, getting older. And so the longer you wait to kind of get a handle on things, or if you quit earlier than you wanted, we actually don't say quit. And I shouldn't even say that in my own vocabulary. It's not a word that we use. But if you end your journey sooner than you wanted to, it can haunt you. And there's a difference between ending earlier than you had initially planned because you're making informed choices and you feel really good about that decision versus ending earlier than you planned because you have to, because things are not working, because your life is falling apart, because you're losing your sanity, because the milk is not coming, because you can't figure it out. There's a huge difference in that. Actually, I have a member right now who is a twin mom, and she is about 8 months in. I think she was kind of planning to get to a year, but has decided to wean at this point. She's worked so hard and she is so proud of herself, and I am so happy for her. And she didn't quite hit that initial goal she set, but she feels so good about this. She's even mentioned that multiple times in our community. Like, this is 100% the right decision for me. I am so proud of the 8 months that I have done, and I've made it work, you know, based on what's happening in my life right now. This feels so good. She's actually happy about this weaning process, which I can almost guarantee is not the case if you are not comfortable with your milk supply. If you don't have someone helping you along this, not that you need my permission, but sometimes it's just helpful to talk it through with someone that you trust to say, can I be done with this? Can I? And there's been a few times where I've had to call out clients and say, you absolutely can, but I don't think it's actually what you want. And I don't think pumping is the biggest stressor in your life right now. And there's been a few times where I said, yeah, this sounds like something that is really going to work for you in your life. Let's do it. Let's talk about a plan on how to wean and so that you're in control and that you feel really good about this. I just cannot stress this enough. I have seen more than once that stressing less, that feeling more confident, that having understanding about what's happening in your own body has directly resulted in an increase in milk supply. The stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, are in direct opposition to the milk-making hormones, prolactin and oxytocin, okay? If you are stressed, if you are unhappy, and I know motherhood is stressful. Like, I know this is so hard. I've been there 3 times. I work with clients on this every single day. I know it's so hard. We've got to find ways to find the good things, to set realistic goals, to preserve as much brain power as possible. in your life because you don't have a lot to give. And if you can just trust me on this, that pumping efficiently, that meeting your breastfeeding goals is more than just getting the logistics right. Take it from a mom who's been there. I work with clients every day. I cannot stress this enough. And I don't know if I would have believed this even myself as a first-time mom, to be honest, having never done this before, or being on the other side of it, or being thick in the middle of it. If someone would have told me you just need to be, more grateful, smile more, I would have been, are you kidding me? Seriously. And that's not what I'm saying. These things affect everything. They affect your milk supply right now. They affect how you're going to remember this experience. And moms talk about this forever, right? They're always talking about their birth, their feeding their children when they were babies. And I want you to have a positive experience. I know this video was a little bit all over the place, and I'm sorry. I had so many thoughts on the mental aspects of this journey. It's a lot, and it's heavy, and it's hard. I know it is. If you want some help through this, if you want some support and guidance, not only from a team of experts, myself, and I have a team that helps me as well, but also other moms who are right in the thick of it doing exactly what you're doing. If you resonated with any part of this video, reach out. There's a link down below. You can learn more about how we support moms, and you can just get on a call and we'll just talk to you and get to know you. And if we can help you, we'll invite you in. And if we can't, we'll give you some resources to help you. It's a lovely place, and I am so happy to be able to work with moms like you. Thank you for being here, especially if you've made it 20 minutes into this video. It's all laid out much more strategically and efficiently inside of our program. I wanted to communicate how I know this is hard. I've been there, and I want to help you. I want to get you the help you need. So if you want to keep doing this on your own, there's more videos on the YouTube channel. I'll put one up top here for you to check out after, but I would also love to talk to you if you're struggling and if you want some help through this. Again, if you want to make it as easy and fast and efficient as possible. These are all words of my love language. Just let me know. All right. Good luck to you. Stay positive and happy pumping.